Hal Keitel was also a poet, and this is one of his poems that we read at his funeral. Hal Keitel, I rebuilt my house. I built my house. The wind of change came, blew the house down. Now I will rebuild, searching the debris, keeping what is usable, discarding what is broken. Now I rebuild the foundation on rock with brick and mortar, honesty, integrity, self-knowledge. I rebuild slowly with time and care, adding the details as I'm ready. Love, companionship, trust, the house will stand. Love will add to its beauty and make the house my home. I was the last Rotarian, other than Julie, to see Hal. I visited him at the hospital in La Crosse the day before he died. Hal had had a stroke and couldn't speak very well, and I was on my way to a Rotary conference in Wisconsin Dells, and Hal was giving me last instructions on how to get money for projects, because he and I were planning to co-chair the projects committee of our club for this year. And so Hal was, I was with Hal. He couldn't speak very much, but he was trying to give me instructions. At the end, he was being evacuated. He heard a helicopter landing on the pad at the hospital to take Hal to Mayo. The last thing that Hal did was he squeezed my hand and he said, "I love you," and was taken off with a smile to the helicopter and off to Rochester, where he met with Julie, and then died the next day. The point of it is that when Hal was referring to that "I love you," he wasn't referring just to me or to Julie or his Rotary friends. Hal had a relationship of love with life. And in his poem, he basically said, "I'm adding the details as I'm ready. Love adding to the beauty and making the house his home." What I and all that knew Hal understand is that he truly made his house a home with love.
This past year, a number of our fellow Rotarian friends have passed, and we're going to remember them right now. And this is a list that was current as of a few days ago. And when I finish this list, if there's anyone else that you know of from your clubs that has passed that we haven't mentioned, I'd ask you to please name their name at that time. Mary? Andy Anderson from the Rotary Club of Madison. Burton Axness from the Rotary Club of Chippewa Falls. Andy Davison from the Rotary Club of Madison. Donald Heiliger from the Rotary Club of Stoughton. Hal Keitel from the Rotary Club of La Crosse Downtown. Bill Nickmeyer from the Rotary Club of the Sauk Prairie area. Tom Mose from the Rotary Club of Madison. Dick Moll from the Rotary Club of Madison. Dwayne Murphy from the Rotary Club of Janesville Morning. Phil Quillen from the Rotary Club of La Crosse Downtown. Patty Struck from the Rotary Club of Madison. Dale Volenberg from the Rotary Club of Stoughton. And one more that I just learned of this morning, Dr. Robert Liners from the Rotary Club of Watertown. Are there any more of our Rotary friends that you're aware of that have passed this year?
Jerry Key, Rotary Club of Toma.
Mark Birdie, Rotary Club of Janesville.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to have our recognitions, and we're going to welcome to the front Dean McHugh, Joe Ruskey, Dave Warren, and Bill Pritchard for our recognition, and Mary Van Allen. Welcome, Mary.
Good morning, one and all.
Morning.
It's a great day to be a Rotarian. It's great to see all of these sunshiny faces here, particularly those of you who struggled a bit to get up this morning and be here. Thank you. Thank you. This, the theme of this convention, this district conference this year is Share the Gift, Celebrate. And in District 6250, we have so much to celebrate. Our clubs in District 6250 make an incredible impact in our communities and around the world, and the footprint that we leave is enormous. The family of District 6250 is very pleased to announce a number of recognitions that go out to you for your efforts. First of all, I'd like to call on the Rotary clubs of and the presidents and those of you who are in those clubs, if you would please stand. The Presidential Citation Gold Award goes to these three clubs: the Holman Area Rotary Club, the La Crosse After Hours Club, and the La Crosse Valley View Club. So if the president or a representation in order to earn this award, there are some mandatory activities, and that is to set at least 15 goals in Rotary Club Central, and the other is to pay your dues on time. But there are also criteria in the membership development and retention area, foundation giving, online tool applications, humanitarian service, new generations, and public image. So the fact that there are only 3 of these awards being given out is a pretty strong indication that it's not a freebie. You've got to work to make this happen. And so congratulations to Holman, to La Crosse After Hours, to La Crosse Valley View for these wonderful achievements. The next 2 awards are awards that I've not personally seen before. The Presidential Citation to Interact clubs that are given on behalf of the sponsoring clubs, and for some there are many sponsoring clubs. So the Interact Citation Award goes to those clubs, those Interact clubs, who participate in at least one activity that promotes international understanding, that introduces membership to Rotary opportunities for young leaders and opportunities like RILA or Youth Exchange. They participate in building awareness or raising funds for polio eradication. They submit a video for Interact video contests, participate in school or community service projects. I mean, there's just a long list of requirements, and of course, our Interact clubs excel at these sorts of things. So, the Interact and you have to actually apply to the award. So the presidential citation for Interacts goes to Central High School and Logan High School. And the clubs that have sponsored them are many. So Joe and Bill, you want to grab those awards behind you and read off the names of those clubs who have sponsored these Interact organizations.
Well, it'd be wonderful if they were listed on there. But let me,
Oh, I have them. So the Lacrosse After Hours, Ryan Kohler, Lacrosse East, and Lacrosse Valley View. If you would stand or come on down and be recognized. So Ryan Kohler, Lynetta Cobb, Connie, Woodall Thompson are the folks who have made all of this or helped all of this happen.
They aren't here.
Ryan's here,
Ryan's here,
We're gonna send Keith down.
Kale's here, yeah.
Pete's here,
Julie's a representative.
Julie's your representative.
If I had a place of hugging Keith, yeah, I'm not.
And can you
We
guys
know this is the
stand right here
future
and show
of
the
Rotary.
awards?
Well done. I'm gonna skip ahead to a couple of awards, since we have all of these, all the beef is here. So, we'll take advantage of that.
I'll suck it in.
There was a collective sucking in. Joe, you can start breathing again.
When I hugged the floor last night, it was a seismic movement.
We have commitment in our district of assistant governors who serve typically a 3-year term unless they're booted up ahead into some other leadership roles. And we have a number of people whose tenure has come and gone, and some who have still stayed on. But we'd like to recognize those people who have served us well. Dean McHugh.
Thanks, Mary. I'm not quite as loud as Pritchard, but can you hear me in the back? Okay, because I don't want to keep walking over there. We have 12 assistant governors in our district, and each one of them covers from 4 to 6 clubs within a grouping, visits meetings, helps be a liaison between those clubs and the district. Typically, it's a 3-year term, sometimes longer if we need their help, and sometimes shorter if they've taken another position within the district. But these folks are a great help to the district governor in her year, and we wanted to recognize the 5 of those that will be terming out on July 1st. I know at least 2 of them are here. The third was here earlier. I don't see him right now, but I will read their names, and if you're here, please come down and receive your award. Mark Brosas is not here this morning.
I can accept that as
All right. His replacement, Karen, will accept the award.
That's pretty much the pattern.
And now you'll hug her.
Yeah. And just for clarification, Mark was not replaced due to attendance reasons. And thankfully, Mark Brosas has chosen to accept the position of membership chair next year. The next person we have is Justin Garvey from the Lacrosse After Hours group. I don't see Justin this morning, but if one of you from his club could maybe get this to him. And Justin was in group 12, which is part of the lacrosse area clubs, and his position is being taken over by David Ebner from La Crescent.
Maybe I'll add it to my Rotary.
Next, Debbie Fox Schrader. I saw Deb, but she here. Yeah. And I believe Debbie's replacement Linda was here this weekend also. Linda, are you? Okay.
I haven't seen him.
Right. Deb was one of those that served beyond her initial term, what, 4 or 5 years maybe? 4 years.
4 years.
And Deb continues in the role of district secretary. Thank you, Deb. Bob Vandenberg, I'm pretty sure Bob is not here. He travels extensively for work. Bob's position is being taken over by Derek. Is Derek here this weekend?
Derek Schneider?
Okay, well, we'll make sure to get a pin to Bob, but we do appreciate Bob's help both as an assistant governor and as an active member in a lot of the other things that we do at the district, so. And the last person we have to recognize is Dave Kotwitz. I haven't seen Dave this weekend, but I did see Gail earlier in the weekend. Gail Lunders from Janesville Morning will be taking over that position. So thank you to Dave Kotwitz.
We'll let you stand here a bit longer. Let's call on Jim Bostonfield and Dick Spencer to present some awards, please, scholarships.
It is my pleasure to present one of the awards for an outbound student who's going out this coming year. It's the Shoemaker Scholarship. The Shoemaker Scholarship is awarded by Central States. Those of you who do not know very much about youth exchange, our district, 6250, is one of 18 districts that are a part of a multi-district for youth exchange, that being Central States. The Shoemaker Award is given in honor of Bob Shoemaker, who was one of the founding creators, I guess, of Central States. He also was a longtime correspondent to Brazil, and I understand he is still revered in Brazil as somebody who developed a wonderful network and relationships with the people there. The applicants had to submit a personal essay. They also had to have a letter of support from their parents and one from their sponsor club. And the applications were evaluated in terms of economic need, as well as evidence of strong leadership skills and volunteer service. It is a $1,000 scholarship. It is matched by a combination of the district and the sponsoring club, which in this case is La Crosse Valley View. So I would like Alyssa White, she's here, to come down and receive her scholarship.
Chuck Hansen asked me if I would explain a little bit. Chuck Hansen is president of our District 6250 Charitable Trust, and he asked if I would explain a little bit about the next scholarship, which is the McKinney Marshall Scholarship that the Charitable Trust is issuing this year. The scholarship was established to provide support, again, to our outbound students. It was created in 2013 through a combination of funds that had been received by the district in honor of past district governor Tom Marshall, and Tom is here somewhere, right there. Okay. And a contribution from the La Crosse Valley View Club in memory of Jeremiah McKinney. Jeremiah was a student from Logan High School in La Crosse, who through the Rotary Exchange Program experienced a wonderful year in Japan in 1991 and 92. His dream was to become a lawyer and eventually a judge. For many years, his family had generously provided child foster care services to many youth in La Crosse County. Tragically, 2 months after Jeremiah returned from Japan, he and his father and a foster brother died in an auto accident returning from Madison. Unfortunately, Jeremiah never had a chance to fully share his exchange experience with Valley View Club. In 1993, Valley View established a fund for its future exchange students in Jeremiah's memory. When District 6250 Charitable Trust was established, Valley View gifted this fund to the trust. for the benefit of any outbound student in the district. Valley View continues to provide financial support to this fund through a weekly in-club raffle. Dr. Tom Marshall served as our district governor for 2008-2009 Rotary year. He retired from Wisconsin Rapids School District after serving as director of student services for 37 years. For 32 of those years, he was the outbound coordinator for District 6250. In 2011, Tom was the recipient of the International Service Above Self Award, which is Rotary's highest honor, recognizing a Rotarian's commitment to helping others and volunteering their time and talents. Tom's enthusiasm for Rotary's Youth Exchange program cannot be overstated. He was a mentor to many. Many youth exchange officers counseled as an untold number of parents and exchange students, and to this day is a valued friend by hundreds of rebound students. The first, the charitable trust usually or traditionally has only issued one scholarship, but this year the decision was to issue 2 of them. So I would like the first, Jay Lee, if you would come down, please.
Without 3 of you, is that all right?
They don't want me.
And the second scholarship, and these are both for $1,000 each, the second scholarship has been given to Alyssa White.
Another group shot. And thank you. Perfect.
Congratulations, Jade and Alyssa. We're looking forward to seeing and hearing great reports of your life going forward. We have membership awards. Our outgoing membership chair has been crying all weekend and reevaluating whether or not he ought to transition. Oh, wrong. There's no tears of joy.
Rapture.
Bill Pritchard would like to announce some membership awards.
Yeah, thank you. Just quickly, because I know you all want to know this. You really want to know how to get a coat like this. That's what you're aiming for right now, right? Real quick story, less than a minute. Go to the Brazil conference last year, honored myself by buying some custom-made clothes. Took 3 hours to get sized for this sports coat. It arrives 5 weeks later in a package that's about the size of my head, which is big but small. I pop it open, this coat flies out of the thing. I put it on, the shoulders are perfect, the sleeves are perfect. I put it on, I look at my dear wife, I say, what do you think? And she goes, great, except for that stupid logo on the thing, which I did not order. Okay? Did not order it. So now I'm with the 4-way test. Is it the truth that I don't want the logo? Yes. Can I send it back for a refund? No. I bought it at a conference, so I have been wearing this coat everywhere at every Rotary event. So, one last time. As a membership chair, we're not competitive people, but we really have a lot of pride in our district, and so we're watching our district versus other districts. We're watching numbers on almost a daily or a weekly basis. We're celebrating your victories. We're crying with you when you fall backwards. And so I wanted to recognize a few clubs today that kind of fall into 2 different groups. We have clubs of all different sizes in our district, and so I wanted to focus first on those clubs that had the highest percentage gain. Because it's not just about numbers. If you're a small club, a couple of people makes a big difference, right? So I want, and the competition for the best percentage gain was so close, I wanted to recognize both of them briefly. So if I could have a representative there in the room from Lake Mills and from the Rotary Club of La Crosse after hours, if I could have somebody come down, please. I mean, it was percentage points apart. So very, very good job, Lake Mills. Sandy, thank you very much. On behalf of Rotary 6250, here's a Membership Development Award for your excellent work in membership and growth this year. Again, thank you very much. Lake Mills. And for the La Crosse Rotary After Hours Club, they actually finished slightly in first, but it was so close I had to give them both an award. Congratulations for Membership Development Award. Good news for those guys is that they also won the other award, okay, which was the single largest growth. Now, I did a little bit of work on this, and I'm not willing to wager my children's college education on it, but I'm pretty comfortable saying that this club might be the fastest growing club in North America, right? Because in the last 3 years, it's not single, it's double-digit growth every year in numbers. This year, as of the latest report, which was 2 months old, they were plus 14. And when you were, it's not like a Madison or a La Crosse plus 14. This is a 60 going to 77 type of plus 14. That's a big deal. So, on behalf of 6250, congratulations also for being the fastest growing club in the district. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to step in really quick because I have an award to present. I don't know if you know who this person is, but he's extremely loud. I thought he did a tremendous job, but now I'm wondering if the numbers were skewed because of La Crosse After Hours.
Yes, they were. Thank you.
But I do want to say,
You're welcome.
Bill Pritchard has been tremendous in his position as membership chair. He has stepped in, he has broken the mold, and he's done things in this district that other districts all over are looking to model. Bill Pritchard is my friend, even though he threw a pie in my face. I've had the honor of traveling with him, and Bill, you've done so much for this district, so much for Rotary, and this is in recognition of your commitment and dedication as membership chair extraordinaire.
Dave Warren approached me and said that he has some kind of award that he wanted to give. So Dave, want to clue us in?
Sure. So about 4 years ago, our district found ourselves in a bit of a pickle when the Rotarian that had been selected to be the District Rotary Foundation chairperson was instead selected to be the nominee for district governor. And we didn't have an heir apparent. We didn't have anybody in our district that was coming up behind that Rotarian to take that spot. But the nominating committee, made up of a bunch of Rotarians that are far smarter than I am, chose one person and approached that Rotarian and said, would you take on this task? And it's a big task. And that Rotarian has done one of the finest jobs that I could imagine for our Rotary Foundation. And he's my friend, and I'd like to present him with the Rotary Foundation citation
Oh, cool.
for meritorious service to Joe Rusty. And all I've got to say is he does half as good a job as a district governor as he did as our foundation chair. This district can be in very good shape.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I guess we're just playing a little bit of tag team. Joe Rusky has a special.
I have an award for an individual that has done things in this district in such a short amount of time. This individual is so well respected that Rotary International actually calls her and asks her if she'll take on stuff from around the world, because they can't find other people in the entire Rotary world of 1.2 million members that are more qualified than her. This is Lynn Kenny. And Lynn, if you can make your way down. For years and years as foundation chair, one of the things where I've been slacking is my name's always been on as the scholarship and the Peace Fellowship chair. We finally decided it's time to do something about that. We brought Lynn in, and I'm telling you, she brought some of the people that'll be our outbound global scholars. She has done so much with this program. Lynn, you are going to change lives for years and years to come. And this is with the appreciation of Rotary District 6250, but beyond the award, you have made our district so proud, and you have done things that we couldn't even imagine. And thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, one and all. I know that we're moving along in time, so thank you.
Okay, we'll be hearing several short presentations. The whole headline on this is Great Rotarians. Our first presenter is from Madison Downtown, Paul Ryman. The acronym is SRAG, E-S-R-A-G, Rotary's newest action group. I have no idea what SRAG means, but I think we're about to find out.
Exactly. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Can you hear me okay? Great. Karen and I are the co-chairs of the Going Green Fellowship in Rotary Club of Madison that then turned into ESRAG. We'll take our few minutes. I'll speak for a little bit. Karen will take up the middle, share about some projects and about Rotarian action groups, and then I'll finish up with really what the main focus of ESRAG has been. I'll start with the story of how this started. It was actually 3 years ago at the district conference that Karen and I were in the same club, Madison Downtown. Karen was a relatively new member, and who remembers, it was 3 years ago, and there was a futurist that presented at the district conference. And Karen's not bashful, and so at the end of that presentation, Karen said to the futurist, what about global warming? And the person answered whatever. But so that was the start of Karen and I connecting and realizing that we had a similar interest in Rotary being involved in environmental issues, particularly global warming. That has morphed into 3 years to, we're very happy to have ESRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group, and we're getting to present a 90-minute breakout session in Seoul next week. It's a good time to mention we have about 800 members, Rotarians, from 60 countries. And so we think that we've really found an area that many Rotarians are very interested in. So we're not the first. This goes back to 1990, and a then RI president from Brazil had this statement and this goal to do environmental projects, and we have our own giants. And so I wish I had 5 minutes for each of these, but just if you're here, please stand quickly so we can thank you. Dean Dickinson, Mary Beth, Chuck, Dean Ryerson, Rob Stroud, Mary Van Hout, and Dave Warren. If you're here, stand up. The way this is taken taken off is because of their work. They're the leaders, they're the ones that were like, literally like, what do we do? And I wish I had 5 minutes to share, and I thank you for all that each of those people did. Very briefly, we started with the Going Green Fellowship. That was 3 or 4 months after the district conference. Karen went to Sydney Rotary International Convention. We did the work on the council on legislation. Dean Dickinson led that, where it did not pass the statement that Rotary International supports the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions to mitigate the global warming humanitarian crisis. And that was just a couple months ago. But during that process, we learned that even the Rotary International Board made the statement, they don't really need that to do what they want to do. So we said, okay, so we'll keep going. But I want to let you know that that did not pass, but we'll be back in a couple of years. Then I got to go to Sao Paulo, and then ESRAG was recognized by the Rotary International Board in October of 2015. Whoops, I'll go back here. So I can't quite see it. What is ESRAG? Here's our mission statement. I'll read it quick. Assist Rotarians in implementing service projects, building awareness, and inspiring action towards environmental sustainability, and particularly reducing greenhouse gas emissions to mitigate the global warming humanitarian crisis. And last year in Sao Paulo, at the end of the convention, we actually had our inaugural meeting, even though we didn't really exist, because we weren't approved yet until October, about 4 months later. And so if you see in the front row, you see Mary Beth, and in the back row towards the right, you see Mary Van Hout. And then kind of fun, Karen was not able to make it to Sao Paulo last year, but she's photoshopped in.
She's on the phone. On the phone, meeting by phone.
And so she's right. And so Karen was part of the meeting by phone in the U.S. So I'll hand it over to Karen. She'll talk a little bit about Rotarian action groups and projects.
Good morning, and thanks for being here. So Rotarian action groups, known in the biz as RAGs, provide assistance and support to Rotary clubs and districts in planning and implementing community development and humanitarian service projects. Last count there were 27, and I am so glad that we beat the Rotarian Action Group of Endangered Species to the acronym, because they're stuck with RAGES. Environmental sustainability is a challenging and hard to define concept. It involves making decisions that don't harm the natural world, preserve the ability for the environment to be resilient, and continue to support human well-being. Or as one of our club members said during her birthday gift moment, do unto others downstream of you, as you would have those upstream do unto you. So SRAG will work on enhancing Rotary projects by including concepts of environmental sustainability in community assessments and as part of project design. And I just met with the leaders of the areas of focus at Rotary International in Evanston, and they were really excited to have notions of environmental sustainability inserted into part of the community needs assessment when we put the project together. So, as I discovered yesterday, my role in SRAG is I'm the project yenta. I match up community needs and environmentally sustainable solutions that become projects, and then align host and sponsoring clubs and supporting NGOs to get the work done. Because time is short, there are 7 areas of focus. I'm going to use this one, okay. Help me, oh. It's not advancing. Okay, you know.
I'll keep going.
Yeah, you know there are 7 areas of focus, and environmental sustainability relates to each one. I'm sorry, 6. Yes. We don't want to be the 7th area of focus. We want to make the other areas better. That didn't work. It's right here. I can see it. While he gets that up, okay. The first one, promoting peace. If you lack access to fair water, if your area is ruined by drought and there's food insecurity, these are the root causes of conflict, war, and forced migration. Changing climate brings disease vectors to new places. Zika's rise is the newest example of how climate change makes fighting disease more interesting and challenging. If we don't manage our air, water, and if we don't manage our environment sustainability, sustainably air, water, and soil are contaminated. Are we up there? Yes. Environmental harms and climate change impacts are borne disproportionately by children and the mothers that nurture them. Renewable energy can power study lights and computer labs. Young minds damaged by toxic pollutants and malnutrition are less able to benefit from education and literacy. And civil unrest compromises the social stability essential for education to flourish. Finally, environmental sustainability means helping underserved regions leapfrog technologies to renewable energy. We want to have low carbon community development that will benefit society, environment, as well as the economy, the essence of sustainability. So, 3 project samples. You've seen me at my table this weekend. The Madison Rotary Club is in the process of getting funding for a grant called Change Her Story. Why menstrual hygiene management and solar study lights go together. Schoolgirls in developing countries miss 1 week of 4 in the school year because of lack of menstrual supplies. By the time their chores are done, it's dark, and they can't do their homework at night without lights. According to the Brookings Institute, the cheapest, most effective mechanism for reducing greenhouse gas emissions is not windmills, it's not solar panels, it's not all that fancy infrastructure doodah. It's keeping high school girls in school to graduate, because if you delay the first pregnancy until they're 20, they're educated, their families are smaller and healthier, and our planet gets a break. Next project, please. The Maldives consists of thousands of small islands, which collectively are home to 400,000 people, all of whom will be climate refugees as rising sea levels, accelerated by land-based glacier melting, submerge their islands. The Rotary Club of Mali, the first and only Rotary Club in the Maldives, came to SRAG to help to organize a climate change awareness event. With the support of District 3220, Mali Rotarians are inviting fellow Rotarians worldwide to gather September 29th to 30th this year to explore solutions through a discussion forum, an awareness seminar with school children, and a visit to one of the impacted islands. And Rob Stroud can tell you that in the past, the diving there has been excellent. If you have expertise or a desire to see a nation before it slips underwater, please come. And the third project I'd like to talk about is one that I am yenting. Health by Motorbike, the women who put that pilot project together want to plant the moringa tree in Kenya and set up cooperatives to harvest the food products. Moringa trees grow in marginal areas, fight desertification, and sequester carbon. But most importantly, their leaves, fresh and dried, provide iron and other essential nutrients for mothers and children. The seeds yield valuable food-grade oil. Byproducts can even purify water. The women-run cooperatives create jobs. They tell me the women are running the co-op and they're hiring the men to be security guards, so everybody comes out ahead. Yes, they're supporting community economic development and improve the environment.
Thank you, Karen. So finishing up, I've got a quote that really sums up why we're doing this. It was from a gentleman in Australia. Sums up why we're doing that, and it's very strong. It says, this is from a gentleman in Australia, "There is no greater issue than climate change. It's largely pointless for Rotary to be providing support for the victims of weather-related disasters when such disasters worldwide have increased by 300% since 1980. And I'll show you that chart in a minute, without Rotary also attacking the major cause. So if you have a hole in your boat, you don't just bail water, you need to fix the hole. And so here's this quote from Munich Re, the world's largest reinsurer, that back in 1980, weather-related, major weather-related events were just under 300 per year. Now, we're 26 years later, we're close to 900 per year. So we want to be proactive. Real quick, we call it Making the Climb, our presentation in Seoul. If you're familiar with the Eiger, the first time that the North Face was scaled, it took over 2 days. This gentleman, and Google this, Uli Steck, he did it in 2 hours and 47 minutes. And so Google this, and this is the challenge that we see, the parallel that we see on what we need to do with respect to climate change. Real quick, the longer we wait, the longer the cost, the more the human suffering. This is what Rotary's about. It's not affecting the U.S. as much, it's affecting many other countries. This is what we in ESRAG really are focusing on. So I'll leave with this, is please go to esrag.org. You can sign up. You could be, right here we could have another 50 members. No charge at this point because we still got to create our 501c3. But please sign up. You'll get our emails, and then be thinking, what projects would you like to do in your clubs with respect to environment? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul and Karen. A little seed planted in Madison leads to a 90-minute presentation in Seoul, and that's the next seed that's going to sprout even more things. Next, we're going to hear how to brand your community with Rotary, and Leslie is over there. Leslie Hirschberg from Mayville. Let's welcome Leslie.
So, out of brand new community with Rotary. Not sure why we were chosen for this, but I do think we're pretty good at it, so I'm happy to share. So I am Leslie, and I am the president of our club this year, and I've only been a member of the club for 7 years, but it's evident to me that branding has been important with our club since the beginning. So I'm going to talk about this in line with how our club has done it. Not necessarily the only way to do it, but I think a good way to do it. So what is a brand? A brand defines you and identifies you from other organizations or business. And to just give you an idea of how important branding is, not just for your club, but in general, in the not too recent past, Kraft bought Cadbury eggs for $19.5 billion. And they weren't buying a recipe, they weren't buying chocolate, they were buying the Cadbury brand. And that's just to give you an idea of how important branding is to companies. And that's a little candy that's only bought at Easter time. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about your club and branding your club. So it's expressed by a name, it's expressed by a symbol, and it should also include your philosophy and your vision for your club. And in our case, in Mayville, if I go to just about anybody, and we're a small town, we're not La Crosse, we're not Madison, we're a little town of 5,000 people, but if you go to just about anybody in town, they're going to know a Rotarian, they're going to know what we do, and they're going to know some of the projects that we've done, because we've made that evident. So branding, I'm going to click here, branding is also about your purpose and your vision. Our club was actually sponsored by Horicon, which is even a smaller community than Mayville is now, and we began in 1936. And their purpose back then was to be a service club for the community, and to be a fellowship group, and back then, of course, it was all men. But even now, it still focuses on those same things. It's about fellowship, it's about community, and of course, we support the fight against polio and all the projects that Rotary is about. But the branding was established clear back in 1936 when the club was formed. And I know sometimes clubs take different directions and things like that, but as you're evolving, your branding should be evolving with that. Over the years, our club has built a reputation of service, generosity to the community, giving, generally fulfilling the needs of other groups and organizations. And in our community, people know that if they need help, whether it's in funding or actually with physical help, they can come to our club and get it. And that's part of our reputation, that's part of our brand. So the purpose of marketing and branding your club is all about creating a positive image in the community where you're located. It will encourage people to join. It'll attract community interest. It'll increase attendance at your functions and fundraisers. And you want people to say, aren't we lucky to have a Rotary Club in our town? Your club can be a real blessing. And just like you've already heard about SRAG, what if that club hadn't done that? That they're going to make a real impact. And how is your club making an impact? And does your community know about you, and do they feel lucky to have you there? People know in Mayville, they know that whatever our club is part of is going to be really great. And they show that with their support. We never have trouble getting donations for fundraisers or sponsors. We always have great turnouts. Our reputation is solid. Our brand is solid. This picture that you're looking at here, this is a new event that we did this year. As president, I thought, boy, I'm going to be either the best or worst president ever, because we had never attempted anything like this. We did something called the Rock River Beer Fest. And a lot of our younger members, it was their idea. I wasn't thrilled about it, and really nerved out about it, actually. And even towards about a week out, we kind of had a disaster, and I about lost it. I was having a nervous breakdown over it, and literally, I was anxiety ridden. But our group, they're like, we have a reputation in this town. We have to demonstrate integrity with our donors, the people that have sponsored this event, and we're going to fix it, by golly. And we did in about 2 hours. It was amazing. But that is part of our brand. That's part of our reputation, part of our image. And it was really important that we pulled that event off, and we raised the most money we've ever raised ever. And it was a great success, and we turned away 100 people at the door. So let's talk a little bit about your club. Let's talk about what's your vision, what's your motto. Of course, the Rotary motto is service above self, and one that I didn't know about, but as I was researching to do this event this morning, one profits most who serves best. And I didn't know about that motto, but it's a good one. And for our club, if you read, I don't know how well you can read that. I copied that from our 50th anniversary celebration, which I was not a part of back then, but you'll read on there, it says, wherever there is progress and community action, you will always find Mayville Rotary Club and individual Rotarians involved, giving skilled help, fellowship, and service above self. Now we're in our 80th year. This is our 80th year anniversary, and that statement is still true. And to me, that's what it's about. That brand, that motto, what your vision is for your club has to stand true from the beginning, in the middle, and to the end of your club's life. So how do you do that? Well, one thing is you have to create awareness. And I'm just going to share through some of the things, how we do that, and I'm sure you've got your own ways that you share about what you do, but almost every town has a Rotary sign as you're entering as part of the welcome. We have that, and we sponsor a road cleanup. We have our section of the highway that we do every year. Second, you have to do what you say you're going to do. So we tell people over and over and over again that we support the community. Just about all those we do in our club. And I think that's the avenues that most people use. And you should have a designated person in your club that helps you manage your websites, manage your Facebook page, make sure you're getting press releases out there, calling the paper to document what you're doing and get the word out there. I suggest you have at least one spokesperson that's doing this for your club. In our case, we have 3 people besides myself, so really 4, that take care of the different websites and making sure we're getting pictures taken and documenting and doing those kinds of things. And here's some of the other things that we can do. Is you kind of have to demonstrate value to your community. So we built a park. That rotary clock was a huge project, several $1,000s. We built and donated a youth memorial building to the community. But what are some of the projects you've done? What things have you done to create value and to make yourself known in your community? Those are the things that you need to get out there. Other ways are encourage your club members to participate in the community. Our Rotarians are involved in just about anything that's significant that's happening in the community. All those things that are listed there, as well as we have a charitable, it's called Church Health Services. That's another board that I remember. The Dodge County Humane Society is one of them. But we have Rotarian members involved in all these groups plus several others. And those are also some of the same groups that we're donating money to every year. And so we're not just handing them a check, but we're actually involved as volunteers, as Rotarians on those boards. And then we also support them financially. So that's other ways. And I'm sure as many Rotarians are involved in the community. Most of us are doers. We're not ones to sit back. I think that just goes without saying that as a Rotary member, you're out there making a difference. But that's another way that we have visibility. Next, you need to tell your story. So we have a few publications that we put out. We have a brochure for our scholarship program. This year we gave 5 scholarships to graduating seniors. We have the other flyer there, which is a membership, kind of tells about our club, so we give that to potential members. And speakers that come to our club, we always invite them to be part of us. If you're not doing a newsletter, I suggest you do a newsletter. And then remember that anything that's printed can also be digital, so you can be sending those out to people in that way too. And don't forget, one of the most important things is make sure you're communicating with your own members. If you don't publish a weekly newsletter, I suggest that you start to do that. Make sure you're getting your events on Facebook, and get your members to like your own Facebook page and to be looking at your website. But as president, I even, when we have a board meeting, you have your selected board, but I even send my minutes out to the whole club. That way, if somebody's missing meetings, they know what's going on so that they can talk about that, beyond the club and let people know in the community what we're doing. And so, remember to start at home and communicate with your own members. And so you ask, what are the benefits of branding? Why would you want to do that? Why is it so important to get the word out? Well, one is to retain membership. You want your membership to feel good about what you're doing, and part of your brand, your vision, your motto, your image is also to make your own members feel good about what's happening there. I know when Bill came and talked to our club, he said we had magic sauce because we have such a good retention of our members, and I think that's true, and I believe that part of that is good communication and good branding. Increase membership, of course. You want to always be winning new members to your club. Increase community support for your events. I find that that's been very true for us. That as our brand is, and we really, even though when I say we started branding back in 1936, we did, but about 7-8 years ago, they really got serious about getting the word out there, and it's shown. What we've been able to do internationally and locally has really increased because we have more money to do it, and it's because we have better community support. A strong brand can recruit volunteers. We actually have people that aren't even Rotarians, but they love our club, and they come and volunteer at our events, and they're not even part of the club. We've tried to get them to be members, but if they don't want to commit to that, we're happy to have their volunteerism and their support in other ways. We have other groups seek us out to do joint events because of our branding, because of our image. The Lions, the Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Mayville, all those groups come to us frequently and ask us to participate with them and to help them either joint fundraisers or just putting on events. And your branding will also keep your club healthy and growing. But, so I believe that branding should be intentional. It shouldn't be a passive effort, and you should really put everything you have into it. And then last of all, measure your success, benchmark what you're doing to see if you're staying on track. So as you're evaluating and monitoring your success, among your club members, talk about how effective and successful you've been. And do that at your board meetings, do that at your regular meetings. Have wrap-up meetings after your event to measure what you've done well and what you can do better. And how you can improve next time. Also, as you're keeping track of all those things, I've made a concerted effort to mentor the upcoming leadership for our group so that they know what the vision is of the club, and so that they're keeping things on track for the future. So that my vice president and my president-elect have been very involved in branding, and they're two of the people that are doing some of the communication for us. They're keeping track of the website and the Facebook page and helping with those kinds of things. And also for future generations, I suggest that you have a historian. Some clubs have that and some clubs don't. As you know, we age out and the newer members are coming in, having that history, you know, and now you can do it digitally, so it's a lot easier. I mean, we've got boxes of scrapbooks and pictures and photos and all those kinds of things that we pass along, but I believe that having an historian to keep track of that so that future generations knowing where you've been is just as important as knowing where you're going. And so I believe that's really important. So in closing, you know, and I look out, every one of you represents a club. And every city that your club is from needs to know about your Rotary. And the way to do that is branding. So I hope what I shared this morning was helpful and helps your club to grow.
I was trying to think of a follow-up to that. You ever heard that saying, the mouse that roars? There's probably cities of 50,000 people that have a Rotary Club that would aspire to do just 20% of what we were hearing about happening in Mayville. That's absolutely incredible. We're going to go from there to, I like the title of this talk, Ann, what to do with the fifth. If it was beef eaters, I'd have a pretty good idea. My guess is we're talking about something much more important than that. Here's Ann Albert from Madison West. Welcome.
Good morning. Well, I can't claim credit for that title. Mary is our creative thinker here. So what I'm going to talk about isn't what you are thinking about probably, especially if you were here last night enjoying all the festivities. We're going to talk about what is a fifth for the Rotary Club of Madison West. So if you look at a calendar, a typical calendar year, I'm sure you lie awake at night thinking about this. There are about 7 months. There are 7 months with 31 days. Do you know that? It's trivia. Each of those months have at least 3 weekdays that happen 5 times during the month. So at Rotary Club of Madison West, and by the way, we are well into our 40-something year, maybe more, of a club that's met on Thursdays at noon, historically. We decided to change that 5th week, our meeting time, from our traditional lunchtime meeting to an evening social with a happy hour and appetizers. So my topic is rather light, but it's important to us. Number one, because we instituted this year a pretty significant change for our club. And that's really exciting for us. How did the idea come about? Again, I can't claim credit. Our outgoing president, Melissa Bierke, and I attended PETS together a couple of years ago, and we did attend sessions and we did listen, and we came up with some great ideas, and one of them evolved into creating the fifth for our club. We did introduce it to the club. I can't say that originally we had an astounding response. We had a lot of looks, a lot of quiet, but we did talk to members individually and we explained the rationale, and we really did gain support in that change. There were 3 reasons specifically that we did this, that we created this fifth, our objectives. One is recruitment. So unlike, or like all the other clubs in the district, our club is interested in increasing memberships. So the idea is for members to intentionally think about that fifth coming up and to invite a friend or a potential member to come and enjoy some socializing, some appetizers, kind of a light atmosphere. Another reason we did this is as a collaboration strategy. I'm the director of a nonprofit here in Madison, so I know firsthand that we can always do more together than we can by ourselves. And we have a lot of wonderful clubs all around us. And we felt that it was important to try and reignite some of these friendships and relationships with other club members. And we had a great amount of support from our leadership, John Locke, Mary Van Hout, because part of their goal for the district is to really create a more cohesive Rotary. So this fit in really well with that. And we thank you, by the way, for promoting our fifth, because it really did help. So we invite other clubs around us to attend. And we also did this as a retention strategy, because even though we meet weekly, we have a formal meeting and we have a speaker, but rarely do members get a chance to really mingle around. You know, everybody sits in their spot, and that's maybe another strategy we have to work on to keep people moving. But really, to try and have people mix together and bring a spouse or a significant other, a good friend or a child or whatever, to come and enjoy our Rotary family. So that really accomplished all 3 of those things. I have a couple of tips or details to share. We don't hold our regular meeting that day. So what we do is we use our lunch fees that are prepaid for our active members to fund the appetizers and the food for that event. We have a cash bar, and we have it from 5 until 7. We do take attendance, so it's considered a meeting, even though we don't have a formal meeting with a speaker. And we remind members at least 6 weeks in advance of this upcoming fifth. And the purpose is to try and remind them to start thinking about that and specifically ask a friend to come, or a potential member. And then we inform our Assistant District Governor, John Locke in this case, who helps by sending a reminder to other clubs. And we find it very important, obviously, to post the dates and the times on our website and in Facebook, and then also the Rotary calendar. And it's very important to remind the people at your venue, and in our case it's Black Hawk Country Club, to be at the desk and greet people if they accidentally come at noon. We've had members do that too. But it's important for them to get a warm welcome and then an invitation to come back that evening. If something special is happening at that time, for example, for our first event, it was Polio Plus Week, so we asked our members to wear purple, and then we had a donation jar, and we raised a little bit of money, and that was kind of fun as well. So far we have 3. Our attendance from our membership is not as high as we'd like it to be, but it's growing. We had just slightly less than what we would see at a normal meeting. But we also had a few extra people come. We have some guests now that we're following up with. So it's early in our year to give you some really good metrics, but we are hopeful that some of the people we've invited enjoyed their time and that they will join. And we've had some wonderful conversations and a lot of fun with some of you who've attended. So if you're interested, keep an eye on our website. If you'd like to come, we'd like to welcome you. And we hope that you will try something simple like that and see what happens. Thank you.
I love the creativity of that idea. Sometimes you go through a Rotary meeting and business and then a speaker, and you have 3 minutes to talk to the other people at your table. What a cool idea. Badgers have a 5th quarter, Madison West has a 5th meeting, right? Right now, we're going to be experimenting with satellite clubs. I think that involves looking up, right? Something like that. No. And Rose from our Sun Prairie Club is going to be giving us a little information on that. Welcome, Rose.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And in case anybody's wondering, yes, I got all my baskets home, and no, my husband doesn't know about that. We hit a couple of them. So I'm Rose Friedel. I'm the current president of our wonderful Sun Prairie Club. We were founded in 1963. So I was born in 62, so I can always keep track of how old our club is. We have 52 active members. It might not sound like a lot, but we cleaned up our membership a lot, and so I'm pretty proud of that number. I think our goal is 54, but I'm trying. So when Mary asked me to talk about our satellite club, I had to kind of pause and think about where we started and where we are now. We talked about this. What we actually started with is we have quite a few members that, because of either job changes or family changes, or they just aren't morning people, kind of fell off our membership. So that's where we kind of started thinking these people would be able to come back. Well, they haven't yet, but they've come to some of the meetings, but they haven't joined back in. So we're still working on that. We have Sue Hollenbeck. Some of you of the district know her. She's recently retired as a project manager, so she was perfect to spearhead this. There's a group of about 8 of us that kind of work on this together. And we started meeting last summer, so again, like Ann, our project is kind of new, but we're working through it and learning as we go. We decided our first meeting was going to be October 8th, 2015. We meet at Buck and Honey's in Sun Prairie, which is a great venue to invite new people. Again, trying to recruit more members, and it's a very attractive venue for that. We meet every first and third Wednesday of the month. Our original goals were to focus on past members, again, that couldn't attend, and then to give our members, kind of like Ann, to give our members a more social atmosphere to talk. You don't always get to do it at regular meetings, and of course to prospective members. Our desire was to maintain a strong relationship between the 2 clubs, not trying to charter a new club, and one strong Sun Prairie Rotary organization with 2 choices for meetings, basically. The structure of the meeting is very casual. I think we didn't really know how we were going to do it at first. We thought we would do the pledge and the 4-way test and such, but it has ended up being is we usually go around, introduce ourselves, and either do a fun fact about ourselves or tie something in with the month. Like this month we did, what's your favorite thing about May? So just kind of get the conversation going. We always have a speaker, and it's kind of fun to have different speakers that can't normally come in the morning or isn't appropriate, like a wine tasting or such. But we are a speaker, and then we finish up with happy dollars. There isn't a cost for this meeting. The only cost involved is your drinks or your dinner and appetizers. So it's kind of nice if you don't want to participate, or if you don't want extra cost. Some of our topics so far, our very first one was Rex Owen, who is a local author. Our very own Laura Jennings came from the Colonial Club and gave us updates on all the events going on there. One of our best attended was Lynn from the Oilery, which is a newer business in Sun Prairie. And she has olive oils and balsamic vinegars, very interesting. And one of my favorites was one of our Rotarians is a West Point grad, and he just celebrated his 50th class reunion, there we go, of West Point. So he shared a lot of stories about that, which I thought was very interesting. We're always shooting around new ideas, and we're planning some field trips to most likely going to be Council 7 Square, and hopefully some other items. So what the Satellite Club has become, we now call it the Wednesday night meeting. We don't call it the Satellite Club. So we refer to our Tuesday morning meeting, Wednesday night meeting. We try very hard to update each meeting with what's going on at the other side. One of the reasons we did that with the changing it to the Wednesday night meeting is so that our Tuesday morning people didn't feel like they couldn't attend. That it really is not an alternative meeting. A lot of people attend both. Again, like Al said, although those members that we had hoped would come back, there was 2 or 3 of them that we were very focused on. They haven't yet, but again, they're like, eventually that'll work out. What we found is that we're getting some couples to come that aren't interested in service and know about Rotary, but Tuesday morning didn't work out for them. We also have one member that is part of our Tuesday morning group that actually brings her husband now every other week, and then they go for date night afterwards and have dinner. So that's been fun. We've tied those people in with Club Runner. You can have, if you do emails, you can do your regular and, active and honorary members, and then there's friends. So we've got them in the friends category, so we share all our emails with them. Of course, we have Tony Pavon, who does our wonderful website and all of our web work, and so she ties that in with them too, so they all know what's going on. They're interested in helping us with our service projects, and they're learning about Rotary slowly. We've seen a number of our Tuesday morning meeting members come, and some of those people don't always participate in Happy Dollars or get real involved talking during the meetings, but they like the smaller group and will actually participate a little more because it's a smaller group and not so intimidating. Another thing that has happened with our satellite or our Wednesday night club is that we were working on a newer membership approach. I have wanted to get a corporate membership because we do have so many new businesses in Sun Prairie that I wanted to approach. So Sue and I were working on that anyway. So we tied that in with, now we have a family membership, which is kind of neat. If anybody needs that information, we have it all. We actually have adopted as part of our bylaws. So we hope our Wednesday group will grow and always be an option for our members and friends of our club. We do post information on our website. Again, like I said, Tony takes care of that for us. We invite any of you to stop by any first and third Wednesday to join us. We've had a couple of clubs that have reached out to us for information, and we're glad to help out. I'll probably send you to Sue though, because she's got most of the information. But it's a fun way to invite more people. Again, we haven't had a lot of benchmark work yet, but we hope to maybe in the future report that we've had a lot of success with that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rose. The thing that's kind of exciting about something like this is the flexibility that Rotary has today to do something like this. And whatever the olden days where it was you come to us, we do customer service training, and sometimes you have to actually go to your customer instead of your customer having to come to you. So very creative and well done. Our final presenter this morning is, I think, might get the award for coming from the furthest distance. As I look at the program here. Nick Luciano, retiring from Kenya, is going to be talking to us about community regeneration through permaculture. I'm not even sure what permaculture is, but I'm sure I'm going to learn. Let's welcome Nick.
morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm the last presenter in this session. So I have 6 minutes to say some few words before I start. I want first to thank the Governor Mary and the other presidents of different clubs for inviting me to speak into their clubs. For the last 1 month for the last 3 weeks I have been going around speaking to clubs, and that has been made possible by my great friends, Tom, Joan, and Zach, and other guys in the clubs we have met. So I want to say thank you so much for making it happen for me. I really appreciate it. Tom wrote to me while I'm in Kenya and they said, Nicholas, do you want to present your work in our district conference? I said, yes, I could, because I was there then. He said, no, you need to come up with a title then, if you have to present. Wait a minute. It's also a lot of work now to think of a title. What title is that? Should I think of? So I came up with a community regeneration through permaculture. And I'm going to talk about my unique case. That is my unique, it's the community I come from. And the permaculture is it's a new concept and it's a new term. I think it has been in existence for the last 30 years or so. And it simply means establishing sustainable systems for human settlement. As you think of conservation, as you think of environment, how do we bring also the human beings into those systems and it is sustainable? So I'll take you on a journey of my community and what happened to where we are now, and out of that you link whether we are regenerating the community or we are degenerating the community and all that. I know I have 10 minutes. I will try to go quickly through the slides. And I know most of you have heard my presentation, but for the few who have never heard, if you have any questions, you can follow afterwards. I'll start with the background of where I come from. That is the house where I grew up. And it is symbolic to me because we grew up as 8 siblings, 4 sons, 4 daughters, and the 4 boys left in that house. I slept there with my 4 brothers. And by then it was grass-thatched house. And we were surrounded by a lot of, a big forest. So my mom used to tell us to keep the goats inside so that the hyenas do not take them. So I kept that as symbolic to show the humility of where we came from. Now I don't sleep there, but that is where I came. That's my life when I was growing up. There was a lot of forest in our place. And as I grew up in a family of 8, and with only a single mother because my father took off and he left my mom, and without education, we started burning charcoal to support my mom, to support the family. And over the last maybe 30 years or so, those issues started coming up. A lot of deforestation, soil erosion, decreasing yields of crops, and some of the rivers in the area started drying up. That meant there was no more fishing. And the problems continued. Like the picture you see here is one of the hills in our place. That hill I used to hunt in that hill, but now it is that deforested. So that is also the river which I used to fetch water. And by then this river was seasonal. I mean it was permanent, sorry. We used to swim there and to fish by then. I'm quite old now, but you can imagine my lifetime, that river now it is at that level. So when we talk of climate change, we talk of sustainability and all that. People down, mostly in Africa, they feel it, and it is their reality. Some is in deforestation, but it has some effect. So that river has become seasonal. And then now the generations are not going to fish. When it rains, there is some water, but after that, after a month or so, it dries, and women have to come to fetch that kind of water. When you look at it, it's not clean. And they have to carry that jerry can for, let's say, 7 kilometers. And the water becomes less. So when you go to the river, you have to spend a lot of time waiting, because the recharge is slow, and if you come early, you must go to the river. In fact, at one point, my sister, I saw my brother's wife go to the river at night. Then I was like, why? It's because now there are not many people in the river, and it's when now you can fetch water, because you don't want there to find people queuing for so long. And then you spend like 4 hours waiting. So, so I wanted also to say, how did I end up into this kind of life also? So what happened, some of the professors at the University of Wisconsin visited our country, and they came to the institution where I was working. And this is the defining moment part of it. The institution I was working, I was not the person in charge. And the professors were supposed to come on Friday, but unfortunately a meeting was called for on that Friday, and they had to attend. So they came on a Saturday. And that Saturday they found me, I was on duty. So that way we met, and after working with them, it happened I ended up in the U.S. University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, as a graduate assistant. I did masters in natural resource management, and then I went back and we started talking about what are the issues. When you come from U.S., there's a lot of expectation, and you go to the community, some will tell you, are you coming to take your family to go back? I remember an old man was asking me that, and they felt when I said, no, I also want to work with you and stay here, was like, that doesn't happen. Are you sure you are making the right decision? Why can't you go back? So we started talking with many people, friends, and the community, and we found many issues of lack of livelihoods, environment, the rivers and dry and all that. So what came up in mind is like, then how do we tackle these issues? And we took this approach of three-legged stool. It is part of permaculture. You look at a stool where you have to balance both the environment, the economics, and also the social aspect. If the stool is not, if the legs of those, the three stools is not balanced, then the stool is not good. It will not be balanced. So we started by the environment, and this is our big nursery. We started with around 20 or so farmers, and they have grown now to 500 farmers. Our nursery was small, but this is a current nursery. So we plant so many different tree species, like 30 of them, and the farmers come, they pick, when it rains, they go plant. Like here, the farmers are coming to pick, they go plant, and we are also working with schools. We are working with 6 schools, so that when the farmers or my neighbors plant trees at home, the kids are also doing it in school. This is the school I went to, so we started with this school just as a payback to the community, and now we have increased to 6 schools. I've tried to show them how to prune there. This was 2009. The trees there grow fast, because when I talk to most Rotarians and the 5 friends, they ask, how long will the trees take? This is 2009, and that is 2013. Because we are along the tropics, the trees grow very fast. And that way they have started now. This is also, I planted that, and after, because we are giving so many, now we are starting to get products from what we are doing. Like the women before, you saw the rate of deforestation. Firewood was a problem, but now they are vexed even to bring and to the site, and we convert that to charcoal, green charcoal. By then we were cutting the whole tree. Now we are only pruning the branches. As we manage the trees and the firewood is brought, we put it in that. Drum, and you fire, then the gases are recycled. They burn again, and that way you can make charcoal from the twigs, and that way the farmers can use to cook, and that's why you can sell for income. So slowly they are realizing that. We also do moringa. Thank you for the presenter who talked about moringa. Maybe we can share more on that. This is one of the trees we gave, and we are processing and selling. The farmers eating it and also making some money. That is economic. The social aspect, we all come together. These are the 450 farmers. They come together, they eat, they sing, they get to know each other, just like the Rotarians fellowship. Out of that, they get to know each other, and then project they work together. Like here, they are cooking for each other they're cooking to each other, and they say each together they get to know each other very well. And they do dancing. I come from a community where dances or music is it's like a therapy or wherever. They're very good in dancers, and I will welcome you to come and be part of this. If you get a chance, you'll get a chance to twist your body. So we also have water harvesting. You saw the kind of river we have, and what happens when we get one cistern, and we got the club or Rabis gave us one cistern which cost us like $1,200 US. And those with the best trees, we put their names in the pot and a child picks. So if your name is picked, then now you get that cistern. But because there's communities together, they come to install it for you. And once they install it for you, then you share the water until another cistern is donated, and they get another. That way you are building the community. I wish I'm a Rotarian in Machakos. I'm the director of membership. I wish also we start working together as we fellowship. We try to do things together, because I thought this brings people together a lot. And some of the people are funded. We started with one cistern. So far we have given 87. Joanne has come, Gary has come, and so many friends from the US, even Zach, most Rotarians, and I welcome you to come. Once we install this together, and you see more of building relationship than just donating. That is the thing I really appreciate as a Rotarian. So there are many ways you can get involved, and there is a lot to share. When you have only 10 minutes, you don't have a lot to share. So we will talk more.